All right, welcome to the Muscle Maturity Podcast, episode 89. I am here with Samir Bannout, 1983 Mr. Olympia, and Marcus Guerrero from Old School Labs, and I'm John Hansen. And how you doing, guys? We haven't been on
Doing
this show
good,
for a while.
doing good. So finally good to see you, Shawn. I haven't talked to you since that big win you did. So I'm going to start by saying congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
really, really proud of
Yeah.
you. And then I know why you were like kicking ass in the gym, training your ass off.
Yeah.
Well, I am
Yeah, man.
so proud of you, and congratulations. You proved that you're a true old schooler, man. And
Right.
your peaking, your condition was on point, and like, wow.
Thank you.
So happy for
Appreciate
you,
it.
my brother. So
I
happy.
appreciate it. All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
big congrats, John. Big congrats. I saw some pictures after, like incredible too, man. Like stage shots were crazy, and I've seen some pictures of you after. I know something's brewing up. You looked incredible.
Yeah,
That chest and ab
Yes, you
ratio
did.
was insane.
thanks.
Yeah, fantastic. Look at that
Yeah,
detail,
my
man. That skin.
first
I'm
time
gonna
in.
show you my favorite. I'm gonna show you my favorite picture, John. Once you show me, you see that right? That I love this right here.
Yeah,
That body looks so balanced and beautiful. Look at that. I mean, look at the other guys next to you. I mean, it's like a walk in the park for you, John.
yeah, thanks.
That was very good. Very good. You make us proud here, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
cool.
John's in a time capsule, man. He just went
Yeah,
away
my
and
first
froze
time in 8
froze
years
himself.
competing, so
Wow.
it was
Here
a
we
long
go.
time.
Now,
almost
now
10
I
years.
know why he was doing the 315 bent over row and that T-bar row, and it's going crazy. And I'm like, John, what the fuck you doing all that for?
Right.
So now what it is, and that's completed the saying: hard work does pay off. And so,
Oh yeah, those shots. Hey Scott, go up a little bit. These shots right here, those like, yeah, man, those are the one I saw those on Facebook, and I was like, wow, that is
That was the
that
week
is
of the
incredible.
show.
Back shots, yeah, you looked incredible.
you don't
man.
see many guys walking around at 60 looking this good. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Look at that back. Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was weird too because I only decided to do the show like 4 weeks before the show. So I really wasn't planning on doing a
Oh,
show. I was just like getting in shape to do videos, and then I
so you
decided just
decided
like
4 weeks out?
Yeah, 4 weeks out because I was
Wow.
already lean enough at like around Thanksgiving. I was already lean enough. So
Mm-hmm.
then then it was hard. I had to hold on to it, and then I had to learn how to peak, going into the contest.
Yeah, you did good. Yeah, I think you peaked right. I can tell. Look at that intercostal. I mean, fantastic. Look at the abs.
Yeah,
The
that's
skin
awesome, man.
is thin, and look at the vein is popping right outside. I
Right.
think you peaked just right, John. And the waist looks really good. Your midsection,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, that
And those
little
lats,
part,
man.
around the lower abs, it took like a month for that to tighten up, the last month.
Mm.
First I thought it was
Well,
like skin, because I'm older, but it went away. I just had to keep dieting. Just took more
muscle
time.
memory, John. Muscle memory and wisdom
Yeah.
and hard work. Definitely, you did an awesome job, buddy.
Thank you.
So do
You
you have another
motivate me.
show
I
in
think I want to
mind, or
compete now.
All right. You're next,
hey John,
Samir.
do you have another show in line, or what's your brain moving forward with it? Like, how are you doing with that? Do you want to compete again?
Yeah, I think I might do a show in July, so it's only like 24
Well,
weeks away.
where at?
Well, I think I might want to do one of the national shows because then if I win my class, then I'll get the pro card. Not that I'm doing it for a pro card. I really don't care about it. Just something to shoot for, like because then I'll compete on a national level.
Where's that
with guys
show
my
at?
age. Steve Weinberger's show is in New Jersey.
New
It's on
York?
July 4th
New
week.
Jersey. Oh, good. I'll
Yeah.
definitely come for that.
Okay, cool.
For sure. Wow, that's very good. You know what? I wish you were here. I would have loved to taken you to Muscle Rocks where
Oh,
Larry
yeah.
Scott and Steve Reeves and
Oh, yeah.
everybody, all the
Famous.
great pose on Muscle Rock, and it's only like 1.5 mile.
Really?
It's actually
Wow.
was about a half a mile from where the fire would. So,
Wow.
but it's a
Oh,
beautiful,
shit.
beautiful area.
Yeah.
If you decide to come, maybe Old School will sponsor you to come to California and spend the
Yeah.
week as a present for your great win.
Yeah.
And we'll do that photo shoot, John. I
All
think
right. That
really,
sounds good.
with that condition, I would love for you to do some great photography and
Yeah.
let the whole world see. If
Muscle Rock's
no
famous.
excuses,
That's where everybody,
excuses.
all the famous guys pose down there.
Oh yeah, you know that. You've been there, John.
No, I've never been there. I've seen it in Pumping Iron, and I've seen, all the photo shoots of the people that have shot there, but
Incredible. The first day I went to Weeder, remember Bill Reynolds? Bill
yeah.
Reynolds was the editor in chief, and he takes some photo from every now and then. So we drove on DeSoto. He said, Samir, how about taking some photo quick? On my first day at the Weeder office. I said, yeah, okay, Bill. We got in the car. We drove about 4 miles on DeSoto Avenue, and I
Hmm.
took photo right there in 1979.
Wow. No
And
shit.
so it's something you should do sometime, Jean.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. That's awesome. Yeah,
Well, that's the famous rocks.
I know.
That would be awesome. Well, hopefully,
Might
Old
look,
School
might
will
look a little
contribute
crazy
to.
right now with the background, the fire, and all that. How was that,
Yeah.
Samir? I know I'm happy you're safe and everything, but
Oh man, don't talk about the fire, Marcus. The fire was so scary. 3 days ago, I got up and looked outside. On this side, it was okay. So I turned behind my house, 1 block down, and I looked about a, about 900 yards away. Red smoke, and it was like huge amount of smoke. I'm like, oh my god, I was so scared. I have to tell you, I was panicking because I wasn't prepared. I didn't think there was anything in my area. So
Yeah.
right away, I grabbed 3 of my suitcases, put all the necessary stuff that I need. The cats, like 2 cats. That's what else could you think? I mean, fuck
Right.
all my memorabilia, all the shit here is like, would be gone. But
Right.
there's nothing. You just want to save your ass, save your life, and get out. Save your animal. It
Yeah.
was scary. It was really frightening, honestly. My heart was like going. I mean, that happened to me. Imagine what happened in Pacific Palisade,
Yeah.
in Brentwood. As you know, Maria Shriver's home got burnt. I feel sorry for that, really bad. Arnold's home was. I don't not sure what happened, but the fire was burning up on Brentwood in the mountain where Arnold lives, and so yeah, I mean, this is a
Hmm.
crazy disaster. It's unbelievable. Nothing come close to that. What happened this time in California is the worst ever.
Ever. Yeah. So it never
Yeah.
got by you, Samir? It didn't get to where you're at?
Now, right now, I'm clear. I'm looking. This is the area where the fire. I can actually see the mountain from here, but it's
Yeah.
clear now. And we have really, thank God, we have those great firefighters, man. These guys deserve to be paid double.
Yeah.
The
oh yeah,
firefighters, man, are so important to to California, to everyone. I mean, really, the government should make them as a priority. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
first responders. These guys are unbelievable, really.
Yeah.
So we were lucky, John. We were lucky, Marcus. So thank
Yeah.
God we're still
We were
here.
thinking
So
about you
yeah.
when we heard about that.
yeah, it was bad, really bad. And 2 days before that, John, you wouldn't believe it. I have a friend of mine. We were driving through Malibu. We
Mm-hmm.
drove by this restaurant, famous restaurant, Moon Shadow. And we used to go with Joe Weider, Art Zeller, and many of our friends. We ate at Moon Shadow. Moon Shadow completely destroyed. We drove by it 2 days before that.
Wow.
Jeez,
And what's really
it's just a
sad,
shadow
I
now.
remember the first restaurant in Pacific Palisades where I ate with Joe Weider, Joe and Betty Weider, actually. And Betty's still with us, and she will attest to that. I mean, I drove right by that spot, and it brings a lot of memory. And now to see that everything is gone, it's really mind-boggling. It's devastating. I really feel sad for all the residents in
Oh yeah.
California and
I can't
Malibu,
even imagine losing everything in your house. Like
Yeah,
just losing,
everything.
you say all your memorabilia, all your records, everything, your personal photos and all that.
Yeah,
I couldn't even
everything,
imagine that.
everything.
Yeah.
Some cars, jewelry, gold, whatever you have. And those,
Yeah.
I mean, wealthy movie star, no problem. They're gonna build another house. They can find another house.
Yeah. But
But the
still all
poor,
your
medium
personal stuff.
class, the people that don't really have much. I
Yeah.
saw a video about that woman, John. Honestly, I couldn't help it. I cried because she went home to look. Everything was down, burned to the ground. Everything turned to ashes. But she found her lamb. Her animal was still there, and she was crying. I played it in my
Mm.
story on Instagram. And I
Yeah.
swear, I was crying. I was crying for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking situation here in California.
Yeah.
You know, all the memories that are gone too. I mean, if you think about that, the fact, like, even like you're saying something like the moon shadow place, like just places that are just
Yeah,
in your mind, what it does to the mental, the memories that are taken
Yeah.
from you and
very,
things like that.
very
So
sad,
much that can't be
Marcus.
replaced. Yeah.
Very, very sad, Marcus. Really, really sad. When you've been here and you know that area, I used to have a couple of my buddy live in Pacific Palisade, and so we'd go after the workout, eat at her house, and hang out. One of my trainer partner have a home in Malibu. All that area there got destroyed. And 5 days before that, I was by Pepperdine. I go to the beach in that area, and all that area connection between Malibu and Calabasas was burned, and it started over again during this fire situation. So,
Yeah.
and our governor Gavin Newsom, I don't think they were prepared for this, and I think that's a big mistake on the part of our governor here, because
Yeah.
all the reservoir were empty. They weren't ready for it. How do you? This is the world's fifth largest economy, Jean, and you're not ready for a fire?
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
someone took advantage of the Santa Ana wind. You know, every year we have that Santa Ana wind, which is like 80 to 100 miles an hour. And I think they light things up during that time.
Oh,
And
really?
so,
Huh.
oh,
Wow.
this has got to be an arson. There's no way this has started naturally, Jean.
Right. Yeah, because I talked to Rick, my friend out here, photographer Rick Schaff, and he goes, there's no fires in January. How did this even happen,
It's really crazy. And then, Jean, how did it, let's say, on Pacific Palisade on the beach, and then Pasadena and Altadena, they're like 50 miles away.
Right.
How the hell? I mean, how did the fire skip other city in between?
Yeah, that's weird.
It went directly there. It was crazy. Like our area, Porter Ranch, is not like there's Simi Valley, there's Porter Ranch, there's Granada. It went right to Porter Ranch, which is, I'm telling you, like quarter of a mile from where I am right now.
Right.
Yeah. So we were lucky, thank God.
Yeah. Thank God
Yeah,
that so
I'm
many
glad
people,
you're
like the fire department, all that. Thank God that like there were so many lives that were saved and people were evacuated, and not many people like lost their lives. There was, so
Oh, yeah.
God bless the dead.
I think about 25 people passed away from the fire.
Yeah.
And lots of animal, dogs, and life, horses, and poor, it's a really sad situation.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, let's change topics. Marcus, the Old School Labs has a transformation contest because it's January now. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? That's starting up in like 10 days, right?
Yeah. So we got the Old School Labs Transformation Challenge. So please sign up now at oldschoollabs.com. Easy, just go spend $35. That's your ticket. That's literally your ticket in after you sign up, automatically put in. It's a private Facebook group, really just an eclectic group of people, just an incredible amount of support. The community is crazy. Real easy. Go to the website, sign up, use code challenge to get in, and that's your ticket. Like, we have literally over $10,000 in cash and prizes.
Wow.
Of course, you have like the first top 10. We also have honorable mentions, things like that. But top 10, everybody gets cash. And then on top of it, we're even doing like a year sponsorship for standout at people. So rather it's, obviously first place gets year contract with the company. And on top of that, we've also even we're kind of branching out to our bodybuilding category, different categories, trying to get our athletes in as well. We have a good bit of athletes, love our athletes. So we're trying to get them involved as well. So we've even tailored it for our athletes too. We have like so many different categories, awards, People's Champ, Best Bodybuilding, Show Ready, OSL athlete, just all across the board.
Who's that big guy in the red shirt?
I mean, I don't know, man. He's you're not a fan of the picture that was chosen. The legs look a little small, but
You look full now. You're bulking up, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty bulked up, and I think I'm even bulkier now. So that's saying something. But yeah, I gotta love the pictures that are used. But hey, I'll take it. The one up top's not bad. Yeah, no, definitely, man. But truly, it's there you go. That one's not bad. But if you go down a little bit, look at this handsome.
Man. You look good. What are you talking about?
Scott, you got to go up to the handsome fella, man. He's right there. Hey. He got the OSL shaker cup. There we go.
Marcus,
a little more.
Marcus, you are under construction, bro. You are under construction. So give yourself credit. You look good,
No, I
Yeah, you
appreciate it.
look
But there's
great.
that handsome fella right there. You know, he's gonna be in and out. He's in the group as well, so he'll have your eye on what you're doing there. Trust,
Oh
the
my
man is there.
God,
The lion
man,
is
that's
the lion is
funny.
taming the group. But yeah, no, I
Man,
would love for y'all to join,
we're
man.
the
We've had so many people. Say it
we're
again,
the
Samir.
old schooler, man, and I'm more than happy that I saw Shawn that surprised us with this show and winning. Really, it made me so happy. Seriously, I was just talking about it for days, and
Thanks, Mark.
yeah. So old school, we need to show Shawn some more love because he's a true old schooler.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we even had, I mean, there's people like the great thing is there's people who John trains. Like I said, this guy Scott, love him. He's a fan of the show. I know them, you know.
Yeah.
Steve Clark's in there, and so I know that like there's so many people who are in this and they get inspired by everything that people do with John. Like that's his trainer. So there's people like him,
Hmm.
Steve, come in and they're part of that community. They live to that old school fashion. So I'd really appreciate just go sign up, check it out. Even if you don't want to sign up, just go look up like the Old School Labs Transformation Community on Facebook's
Hmm.
private group. Request to join and just see what it's all about. Like it's a really
Okay.
great community itself. But yeah, January 27th it starts. Just come, show up,
Very good.
just get good for the new year. And it's beyond that too. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's a community. So it's not just about, the 8 weeks and then it's done. It goes beyond that. There's other challenges, weekly prizes, but it's more so you find a community that really does support you throughout the year. I think
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Who's picking the winner, Marcus?
So the Old School Labs like team picks, like there's like the people behind the scenes, the Old School Labs, they pick, like there's a group, the panel. But the great thing is this time for a lot of the award categories and transformations, we are having the judge, the community be a judge. So they're going to be literally a judge in themselves. We're going to have them vote the community. So anybody who like is a part of this challenge, so anybody who signs up, anybody who's in it, they get to be a judge as well. So everybody's voices are heard. So I can't wait to see that come to fruition. I love when like the people have their voice, when the people can speak.
That's nice and motivational for the guys from old school. That's really good.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
no,
good.
definitely. It's a lovely group, honestly. Like, John, I'd really like to get you in there too. I don't know if you're in the group or not. I know Samir's in the group, but I'd like to get you in there too. Just to spectate. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
some things will show up in your
Yeah,
feed. You'll
on there.
see. Yeah, it's incredible, and I know that they will like get a lot of inspiration from you guys as well, especially John right now with everything you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people who are 40 plus in there who are getting back into it. Maybe they were once into it and they're doing their thing. And I know seeing
Okay.
somebody like you, and a lot of them look up to you. I know that. So seeing somebody like you in there,
Yeah.
just knowing that your eyes are on them and just what you're doing right now, they'd
Nah,
be so happy to see it.
he know they know now that John practiced what he preach. It's not like blah 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 blah.
Right.
Yeah, look at me now. So what else new in the bodybuilding world, John?
Well, we got the Arnold Classic coming up. Man, it'll be here before you know it because that's the end of February. So, two guys going in the show, Patrick Moore and Derek Lunsford, Mr. Olympia. They've
Mhm.
hired Chris Aceto for their coach because,
Good choice.
Derek
Yeah.
Lunsford, I guess Hani is no longer coaching the top level guys. I guess he's still doing some coaching, but he's not doing the top level
Mhm.
guys. So Derek had to get a new coach, and he missed his peak at the Olympia. So,
He
Samir,
did.
you and I
He sure
both
did.
know we both know Chris Aceto for a long time, and he's a great coach. So, what do you think of that move for Derek Lunsford, and how's it going to help his chances at the Arnold?
Uh, Honestly, I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not just. I know there was some kind of disagreement between Sean Ray and Chris Aceto about coaching and all this stuff, but to be honest here, they both are my friend. But Chris Aceto has been doing this for a long time. He competed himself.
Yeah.
He's educated. He understands what's happening in the world of health and nutrition, and he's a coach that actually rational. You know, it does coach that Chris Aceto can help these guys win. Of course he can. I mean, look, I personally took some advice in the past from people before I met Chris. I had intelligent people in my corner that, we always talked about the peaking process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys like Lunsford, I mean, he's already aware of how to grow and how to train and et cetera, et cetera. But, most of these guys still don't have it yet down completely when they peak. And so you need 2 eyes enough. It's not enough. You got to have 4 eyes. If you have a good coach in your backing you up, and they're going to tell you the truth. And so Chris is a good one for sure. And now, we don't have Hani Romboy doing things. So I honestly feel like Chris Aceto is probably the best next in line. If not, he's right up there with Hani. So Chris is pretty experienced and pretty safe. For that reason, I would say Chris Aceto is a good, really good coach.
Yeah.
I endorse Chris because I know we do similar things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always like Chris's approach too. I think he's very, a lot of common sense, and, he's not too crazy. He's not too extreme. I met Chris in the early 90s when I was competing in those natural bodybuilding shows, the Natural Universe and stuff. And I met him at a guest posing. I used to read his stuff, and he used to write a column in Muscular Development at the time. Yeah, I always loved reading his stuff because it made just a lot of sense to me. Then I bought his book on contest prep, and that made a lot of sense to me. And then I did a guest posing in Tennessee after I won the Natural Universe in '92.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the guest poser with Laura, his wife at the time, Laura Carvel, who was one of the top.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Laura just won the Arnold Classic the week before we did the guest posing. And then they went up there on stage together. Him and Chris and Laura did a guest posing together. So I was like picking his brain all weekend about that, and then I stayed in touch with him afterwards. He never charged me, but he would always like give me advice and stuff. So I think he's a great coach.
Cool.
He never charged you?
No, well, he wasn't really coaching me. I would just call him up and ask him for advice. What do you think I should do about this or that? But
I never charge him anything. No, Chris is, he's sane. I'll tell you what, from talking, Chris and I talk all the time. We talked a couple of days ago. We talk all the time and for years, and we maintain our friendship. I remember one day they asked me, Samir, bring one of your friends to Qatar. I was going to Doha, Qatar.
No, I remember that, yeah.
And I said, yeah, I have a good friend that I can bring, and we can help bodybuilding in general over there. Maybe we can do some seminar together, do some talk shows and stuff on TV and radio in Qatar. So our friend Abdullah Darwish, who is actually one of our close friend, which I met in Gold Gym years ago. He said, Samir, bring then Chris Aceto. He don't know Chris, but I told him, I said, Chris Aceto, definitely a good choice.
Yeah, there you go.
So I called Chris. I said, you want to come to Doha, Qatar? He said, when? I said, tomorrow. Pack. So anyway, we were able to go together and hang out. And, look, I mean, come on. This guy practiced what he preached. Look at the other coaches. The only guys in muscular shape is probably Milos, really.
Yeah.
Who else have that kind of muscularity? So he practiced what he preached. And again, from being around Chris, he's safe. Now, I'm not going to say Shawn Ray is terrible in some of the things that he says about coaching. No, I think Shawn is right. I think not every coach out there is a reliable coach that will take you to heaven. I know some of the coaches will definitely take you to hell, without a doubt. Some, okay, and a lot of those guys that you see on Instagram, everybody is a major coach. For God's sake, I met a girl one time at Crunch here in Northridge, and she was asking me what to do. So I told her, do A, B, C for 2-3 days. And a week later, I saw her advertise herself that she's a coach. I mean, this is crazy. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Why do people lie? How you want to coach people? You gotta have extensive experience. You have to understand health and nutrition, not just this. If you tell people, yeah, take DECA, take this, take that, Debo, you're not a good coach. You have to understand what's going on in the nutritional world. You have to be able to resolve issue the healthy way, not always rely on drugs. I know some coaches, they can't scratch their butt without taking something for it.
Yeah.
And
hey, Marcus,
I'm not going to say who are those coaches, but I know.
What do you think, Marcus, what do you think Derek Lunsford needs to improve on from the Olympia to this to make an impact and be a threat to Samson?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is the peak. Personally, I think that what he and I think that kind of goes along with what we're talking about with the coaching and all that. I think with Chris Aceto in his corner, he might be able to have a better showing. Hopefully, I mean I'm not trying to put like Hani's an incredible, like, clearly one of the most star-studded coaches out there as far as winning caliber. But I feel like the biggest thing he needs is just to peak correctly, to go on stage, just looking a little bit better as far as his peak goes, and that's really what he needs. Hopefully, Chris Aceto can bring him there. Obviously, like as y'all are saying, he's a true and tried coach, knows what he's doing, has so much knowledge, has been in the dirt, done it himself. So I just think that it's the peak for me personally. I think all those guys, these top guys, that's the thing that's going to really separate them. And I mean, even going into like 5th, 6th, 7th place, everybody, I think it just really depends on the peak. I think somebody who can place second, say Andrew, he can place top 3. He's somebody who can easily place even 5th or 6th, depending on, that's lowballing it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, depending on the peak, he can drop from 5th to 2nd, 2nd to 5th, so on. Same thing with Derek. We saw it at the Olympia, him dropping to 3rd.
Well, it's weird when Hani was coaching Derek, he helped him win the 212 Olympia. He helped him win the Olympia, and he helped him get 2nd in his first Olympia. But then they just missed it last year, and then he ended up in 3rd.
I think it just shows how much of a sweet science it is. You know what I mean? Like it's so many different things can play its role in it. Rather it's your mental, where you were at, the mindset, everything. Just the littlest minute thing can push somebody over, have them come in flat or have them come in spilt, whatever it be. All these different terms that we use.
Well, Chris hasn't worked with Derek before, but Hani Romboyd knows Derek's body, and he's been around him long enough. I mean, that's the only part, because sometimes one athlete make mistakes, you could always go back to the drawing board and find out what exactly happened, and then you can make the necessary adjustment. But I'm telling you that Chris will be able to grab that. I mean, I was talking with Chris about his son Farid, who competed. He's 19 years old. He competed, and Farid is natural, and he's doing everything the healthy way. And I can tell you that Chris told me his son didn't touch anything, and he looked really good. So this is why I would say a good coach will take you all the way up there without harming you. And I asked John, I said, I asked Chris, I said, so what? Are you going to give Farid any supplement? He said, no, not for quite some time, for a long time.
Yeah.
He wants to rely on his natural, hormonal function right now, which is very smart.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think he will take Derek. He will get him in a position where he could be very deadly dangerous, because I think Derek is deadly dangerous. And he peaked right. Well, you know what? All bad is out. I won't bet on anyone, because he'll be, between him and Samson would be like that.
Yeah. Before we talk more about that Shawn Ray, Chris Aceto thing, what do you guys think about Patrick Moore going in the Arnold? I mean, Patrick, remember when he came in the Olympia, I think he did his Olympia debut the year that Brandon won, 2019, I think. Mm-hmm. And I was very impressed with him that year, but he wasn't big enough. And then since then, it really seems like he hasn't really made much of an impact at all on the pro scene. And he's obviously bigger now. So what do you guys think of Patrick Moore's chances at the Arnold?
I mean, Patrick have a beautiful physique, really good body. I predicted a lot to happen to, that he would be easily in the winner's circle. But I think something happened where he got in an accident where his legs were like way down.
Tore his Achilles tendon.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if he can bring his legs back to where they used to, I look at his body. He's pretty complete. Look at the arm, the triceps. I mean, he's got a beautiful overall body,
Yeah, I think so too.
So, yeah, I think he'll be fine with Chris Aceto, and let's hope he'll be back to his old self 100%. I think he'll definitely be in the.
Chris was working with him when he did his first Olympia, so I mean, Chris obviously knows how to peak him,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know the history of what happened to Patrick, but I remember what's our friend in Texas. What's his name? Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Keith was coaching him at one time, and he looked really, really good. So I'm talking about Keith Klein.
Yeah.
You know Keith Klein, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith was always a contributor for Lila Brada back in the days.
Right. Right.
And Keith is very sane and he understands what's happening. And he's actually pretty similar concept like Chris Aceto and myself and Lee. So, and he contributed to Hunter Labrada quite a bit. So, but I think if he have no problem with his lower body, he should do very well.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I feel like he was also kind of overlooked at his last showing.
Yeah, I do too.
I thought he looked really good, and I've always been a big fan of. Yeah, and I feel like he is somebody who can definitely be a threat. I do think he has the type of body that it is kind of. I don't know how else to say this. I'm not going to know the right verbiage, but it's hit or miss when it comes to the stage when you're comparing to some of these other people. To where, like, as we saw in the 2019 Olympia, where he placed, like, I think top 10, he looked incredible. And even though he was like smaller, the overall physique and aesthetic he had, just it stayed true to that classic that we all love, that classic look. So I feel like he's somebody who can really come and just tear the stage down, but it really depends. And I do feel like what we saw at his last showing, he looked really incredible. That little bit of size he's put on, I think that if he comes in just sharp, he has the right coach, and we can really see that package all come together nicely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why he came back to Chris, because he was with Chris at some time before, and he knew he did very well. And honestly, I don't see much difference between our friend Keith Klein and Chris Aceto. It's pretty similar in coaching. Okay, so, but I think he's in safe hand. I don't think Keith Klein is coaching anybody right now. He's completely retired.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of coaching now, Chris and Shawn Ray have been going back and forth. So I guess Shawn was on Bob Ciccarello's show, The Voice of Bodybuilding, and they were talking about how Derek got a new coach. And then Shawn Ray was saying that, back in the day, in the 90s and stuff, like Shawn Ray never had a coach. Dorian Yates never had a coach. And those guys, would always consistently, like Shawn would, hit his peak every single year at the Olympia. So they were saying, they made an interesting point, why do these guys need coaches? So what do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like you need to have a coach in today's bodybuilding world? Do you think things are different now than they were in the 90s? Why didn't the guys need the coaches then? And they seem like everybody needs a coach now. What do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, there's not too many good coaches out there. Let's put it that way. From my perspective, there's about no more than, see that one hand, okay? Those are the coaches that understand health. They understand peaking. They understand, go eat. They understand, do this, do that. And they do things accordingly. And they're intelligent. They've been there. They've done that themselves. They're like, some of them are competed themselves. And, some of the majority, really, they haven't experienced the game properly, I personally don't like the coach that rely on excessive use of drugs and find the solution in drugs all the time. If you rely on drugs for your athlete to peak properly and get like that onion skin, but you endanger their lives. I know some of the coaches that did something that were like very deadly. I know. I don't talk about it. Shawn Ray probably either aware of it or he's not aware of it. I'm fully aware of what's happening. Okay, I don't talk about it. I don't like to do anything derogatory, but some of those coaches will do stuff that's scary. If we talk about it in here, we will end up spreading the word of danger, and some kids are going to investigate this and they want to do it.
So do you think that's why they need the coaches now, because of the drugs, and it's harder to peak now because of all the stuff they're taking?
Yes. You see, the thing is, some people want to maximize the mass and they want to dry up simultaneously.
Right.
And you know that. To do that sometime, there are ways where you would take wrong stuff. You take the wrong stuff. You shut down different hormone in your body just so you can boost fullness and you block this, you block that. That is fucking deadly dangerous. Anybody that have a coach, tell them to block their adrenal, block your TSH, block this thyroxine, block cortisol, block aldosterone. All these coaches that do that, they're stupid. You know why I call them stupid? Because all of the above can be resolved naturally. All of the above can be resolved naturally with herbal thing. With, Jean, we know that there is always answer in nature and understanding how to load up properly and minimize the fluid retention and stuff like that. So all of that play a major role. And if the coach fully aware of the health department and nutritional department and not rely too much on drugs, and I'm not talking about simple little bit of aldactazide or diazide. Those are not too bad. What I'm talking about, these guys are way beyond that, way dangerous stuff that they do in order to get their client extremely dry like a desert sand. And some of the great could have lost their life. I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want them to say, oh, Samir, after this coach, after that coach. The bottom line, there's many, many dangerous coaches out there. Many. And,
What do you think, Marcus? You think that these guys need coaches?
So I
Or
think
can they do it on their
Samir.
own?
So I think there's a lot of gray area to this, right? So there's different people who do different things. So I think Samir definitely hit it on the head as far as, and that was a really good point as far as the drug aspect of it, the protocols, things like that, to where that's where some of these people actually really probably do help a lot because they know about that. To where a lot of these athletes don't know about that. They come in doing way too much too early, and we see the results of it, in the near future. I just feel like we saw it with Samson, right? So this is what I mean by like a gray area, to where he's already been through different coaches. He has his wife helping him coach now. So I think it's really good to have an eye on you, right? Somebody who can kind of see you and be your second, your second set of eyes. I think that's really important. And I just feel like somebody like a Derek Lunsford was really good for him. Is I think Hani almost played, and I don't mean to like say this sounds weird, but almost played like a life coach per se for him. So when you see Derek, you tend to see somebody who kind of needed that guidance, and I think Hani played that role for him. So I think there are certain people who need different aspects where a quote guru or a coach can really come in and really help these people. However, we just saw with the Olympia champion, someone who did it with their wife.
Speaking of that, not once I heard Hani hurting any of his clients. Not once.
Yeah.
So on the safety, from the safety perspective, Hani was one of the safest out there. Okay? But I know 2 or 3 that really hurt athletes, badly hurt them. They were like hanging by a thread. Okay? It's some of the great champions. I mean, not too long ago, I saw my buddy Paul Dillett in Las Vegas. Paul is unbelievable. I mean, when I first met Paul here at Gold Gym in Venice, his uncle was Winston Roberts, who was like he was working with Ben Weeder in IBB in Montreal. And Winston told me, hey, my nephew is going to come to California. You won't believe it. This guy's incredible. And you know what? Paul Dillett was incredible. I mean, Paul got in condition. It was unbelievable. He was shredded. I mean, he's just standing there. He'd blow everyone. He make everyone look small. He make Dorian look small. That's how big Paul Dillett. But I think Paul, he found that it's not worth it health-wise. He got to the condition was like the guy was shredded to the bone and he's missing nothing. Paul Dillett have a calves better even than Chris Dickerson. He's got hamstring. He's got shoulders and everything there. Nothing missing. But I guess, live and learn. I don't know who was coaching him during that time, but I know it was not healthy. And that's why Dillett decided to say, you know what? Fuck that. I can do other. I already did great. But again, he knew that some of that stuff was like a no-no. Smart guy. So he started his own bodybuilding federation. Remember, women federation, and So some of the guys really almost died from coaching. Some of them died. Some of them were hanging by a thread. And I'm not gonna say who was hanging by a thread. Jean knows them. Jean know who they are. And yes, we have lost many top-notch athletes to coaching. And now they're going to say, no, it wasn't that. Then somebody's going to say, oh, this guy choked on a piece of bread. That's why he died.
Mm-hmm.
No, he did not choke on a piece of bread. Quit lying and hiding, saying and say, yeah, we it's totally okay what he's coaching doing. No, it's not okay. It's stupid. What winning contest? Look at John. He just won a contest. Look at him. He looks healthy. He looks, knock on wood. I mean, these guys, when they do competition, they would need like fucking months to recover from all this fucking health issues and damages that they do to their kidneys. And some of those guys have kidney transplant already. Some of them lost their kidney completely. I'm telling you, Marcus, you haven't been around too much, like as long as me and John been around.
Yeah,
but I've seen it all. I've seen the good and the bad and the ugly. But are these things necessary to get to that level? No, it's not necessary. Chris and I were talking about, what's his name? I can't even think of who's the guy that Chris was coaching, who won that show in the UK. I can't think of his name right now. Anyhow, so we were talking that this guy, this time he filled up a little bit more than he usually does. And guess what? He looked incredible. For the same thing I would say about Samson. I think him and his wife clicked perfectly. He looked healthier, and he looked harder, and he looked more drier than he was before under some coaches. Yeah. I think some of those coaches were actually depleting him a little bit. So when you take some diuretic, it doesn't mean, oh, you're clear, you're going to go and win. No. Once you lose some intracellular fluid, you're done. So it's better to be full. Yeah, if you have no fat, I keep saying that to people, if you have no subcutaneous fat on your body, none whatsoever, and you filled up, that little bit of water cannot harm you. I'm just saying a little bit of water.
Yeah.
The problem is sometimes you'll look great and the coach said, maybe he could be more ripped. Yeah, let me give him another aldactazide. And you do that, and guess what happened? Everything go down the drain. Yeah. Don't play this fucking game with diuretic.
Well, I think you made a good point, Marcus, about having a second set of eyes,
Yeah.
Like when you're getting ready for the show, it helps that, like, I got ready for this. I mean, I dieted down from the summertime to being ripped. But then when I was getting ready for the show, I was using Paul Revelia. Paul is the owner of Pro Physique, that company I work for where I do coaching. Mm-hmm. And Paul helped me out like with the peaking process. And man, it really helped having someone else there, like telling me what to do,
Yes.
Yeah. So what we did was I depleted really heavy the weekend before. We actually did a trial run. So 2 weeks before we did a trial run. Mm-hmm. And so what Paul does is he depletes you really heavy. Now I was already ripped. I didn't have any fat to lose already. Mm-hmm. So he did like a depletion on Saturday and Sunday the weekend before. And then starting on Monday, we would slowly bring the carbs up. And I was drinking water. I was salting my food. No restrictions anywhere. And then after that trial run, he's like, okay, now we'll do it again for the real deal last week. So we depleted again, but this time a little bit harder. And then when he came back up, we came up a little more conservative. We didn't bring up the carbs just as much, a little bit more conservative. And I'm telling you, it worked perfectly. I was my best on Saturday morning, not Friday night, not Sunday. I was my best on Saturday morning. I even looked, I think, better Saturday morning for the prejudging than I did. Like, usually people will peak like the day after because they're too flat and then they eat Saturday and then they look better on Sunday. I looked better on Saturday than I did on Sunday. So, yeah, I mean, thanks to Paul with his, he knew exactly how to do it.
How many days did you load, John?
5 days from Monday through Friday.
You see?
Yeah.
You need some time to load up. I mean, this is
which I never did it like that before. I always did like carb depletion, like 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then carb loading Thursday, Friday. And then you're not really sure how much do I load? Am I loading enough?
Not enough.
Not
enough.
Yeah.
I have one of my clients, John, like, I say, go, I want you to eat one pile of pasta. I said, what? I said, just do it. Just do it. And I'm like, Oh, I did. I'm like, keep doing it. I have him do that for 4 days.
Yeah.
And then the day of the show, he looked at him like that. And guess what? He had the diuretic in his hand. And I said, what are you doing? He said, should I use a little bit of this? I said, I will break your arm if you do. Don't touch it. Just go up there. Went on stage. He was the most ripped in the contest.
Yeah.
And really, it made me happy because his mom and dad were right there next to me. And they said, Samir, my son never looked this ripped ever.
Yeah.
And he looked healthier than ever. You know what? Sometimes you take diuretic and you mess things up. So
Yeah,
you did
that's
have
right.
a smart coach for loading you for 4 or 5 days, John.
Yeah. Yeah. He was great.
And it shows. You look good. You were
Yeah,
popping.
you looked
Your vein
incredible.
were out. You look
Yeah.
healthy.
Plus, it felt great, having someone else there, like telling me what to do. I mean, I
Yeah.
could have probably did it myself, but I would have been unsure, so it just felt great having someone. He told me, he goes, this is bulletproof. This will work, no problem. And it did.
This is what I'm talking about, John. Peaking is everything.
Yeah.
And had you peaked, have you load for 2 days, it probably got back to where you used to be in the past.
Yeah.
But those additional couple days, they really played the game of getting you look healthier and fuller, and you were popping. You were popping. You
Yeah.
look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like it really helped your
congrats
mental as
again.
well.
You
What's
and
that,
your
Mark?
coach did a good job.
It sounded like it really helped your mental as well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
that reassurance.
Because I was already, like I said, I was already ready a month before. So I was thinking, God, how am I going to hold on to this for a month? I mean, I was just like, should I go up? I'll go up a couple of days. I'll go down a couple of days, So when he came on board and then he's like, this is exactly what we're going to do. Then it just,
Yeah.
I just was relaxed, no pressure at all.
If you want to go shopping, you got to have money in the bank.
Right.
If you don't have money in the bank, just stay home. You can't go shopping. You're flat. So this is what I tell people. Load up. You're not going to get fat. You can't get fat even if you try for 3-4 days.
Right.
And you won't retain water. All you got to do is just calm down, do your thing, pose a little bit, and boom.
Yeah. Everybody's like,
you didn't have to
when
touch
are
any
you going to cut
diuretic,
your
John.
water? When are you going to cut your salt? I'm like, no, just keep going
Nope.
normal.
Mhm.
I was ready.
Yeah, and it shows.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I was very impressed with your condition, John.
Thanks, Samir.
You did a great job. You and your coach.
Yeah.
Even you have years of experience, but it really paid off to not to have the fear factor of I'm full enough now, I don't need to fill up more.
Right.
But when you have someone backing you up and give you that additional guarantee that you're gonna be fine, and you know what? Boom.
Yeah.
That's it. And
all right, guys. Well,
these guys away there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's cut it off here, and then we'll come back next week. And we got the Arnold Classic coming up now, so that we can talk about that coming up in the next month. And go to Old School Labs Facebook page, right, Marcus? And then they can join the challenge.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, you can find it at oldschoollabs.com as well. Yeah. Appreciate
Oldschoollabs.com. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Nice seeing you.
And keep it old school. Keep it old school, guys. Like
I'm
John
glad
and
you
I.
said that. All right, guys. All right. Take care.
Good
All right,
talking to you
take care.
guys.